what we need to do is to urge the UN as much as possible to accelerate this deployment. They have announced that they would start right away. The more they can bring this deployment forward, the better.
As with kind of a cleansing of communities, as the Muslims are now forced out, and by the way, I think it's something like 10,000 a week are fleeing now into Cameroon, despite being shot at as they're trying to leave. This is having a profound impact on the future of the society. Because if you get a society then which is on the one hand Christian and on the other side Muslim, and then many large numbers of Muslims outside, then you're going to see potentially another Bosnia where the two communities are at war with each other. So we've got to act, and we've got to act quickly.
Is South Sudan just as bad, just as dire, and just as ignored as C.A.R. is?
Different because in terms of the fighting, because these are two organized groups, basically not highly organized, but still organized with their own political agendas. And so perhaps there's a somewhat better hope of achieving some sort of diplomatic solution here, and pray God it happens sooner. But the scale of the humanitarian disaster is huge.
You know, when we celebrated when South Sudan became an independent country, but already then, that was a part of the then Sudan that was most neglected, with very low indicators of human development, of education, of healthcare. So a country was born with the elements of failure, and that for the international community meant then and means now that we need a much more intensive engagement and investment in helping the country to step on its feet.
The New York Times editorial board, when talking about South Sudan, called out Russia and China for not living up to their moral obligation. They noted they're wealthy countries, but they're not stepping up to the plate. Can it be argued that this covers all sorts of conflicts?
Very simple. More wealth, more responsibility. And we have to work on lifting up that sense of responsibility among the countries that are emerging as stronger economic powers.
Let's not forget that governments, especially of course in democracies, but really all governments, reflect the public opinion in their countries. So we have to find ways to keep publics from not just becoming fatigued, but almost giving up. And I can understand why now Syria is in its 4th year. You might begin to say, this is hopeless. It's never going to be fixed, so why should I care? Well, you should care because, first of all, every child who dies is a child who dies, whatever the country, whatever the situation. And if we give up on this because of the political fatigue, then we are giving up on human beings, and especially children that we all care about.